Okay, let's try to unpack this.
Yeah.
Because right now it's February 2026, and it really feels like the UK housing market is, well, it's gaslighting us.
That is a strong start, but you know what? I don't think you're wrong.
I mean, just look at the numbers. On one side, you have these headlines just screaming about record-breaking house prices.
Right.
And then on the other, you talk to estate agents or you look at what they're telling the Bank of England, and the vibe is just, it's miserable. It's sluggish.
Completely downbeat.
So today we're going to pull apart data from the Negotiator, the latest Bank of England summary, and the Halifax House Price Index to answer, I think, one huge question.
Which is?
How can a market be hitting record highs when it feels like nobody is actually out there buying houses?
It's the central paradox of 2026, definitely. Yeah. And to solve it, you really have to look past that big sticker price.
All right, well, let's start with that sticker price because it is a big one.
Oh.
The Halifax HPR, it just dropped a bombshell. The average UK house price has now officially topped £300,000 for the first time.
For the first time ever. And we saw a 0.7% jump in January alone?
Exactly. So if I just showed you that one chart, you'd assume we were in a massive boom.
Oh, absolutely. Bidding wars, queues down the street, that kind of thing.
But that's where the Bank of England data it comes in and ruins the party.
It really does. Because they talk to the agents on the ground, and the feedback they're getting is subdued.
Subdued.
Viewings are flat, transactions are low. There's, and I'm quoting here, little evidence of a pickup.
So, make that make sense for me. Basic economics says if demand is low, prices should drop. So why are we breaking records?
Because it's not what you'd call a hot market. It's more of a stubborn one.
Stubborn.
Yeah, the volume of sales is incredibly low. So the people who are selling right now, they're not in a desperate position. They're holding out for that £300,000 figure.
Ah, so they want to bank the equity they've built up over the last few years.
Spot on. But because buyers are so cautious, you just have far fewer deals actually crossing the line.
So the average price is high, but only because the number of sales is so incredibly small.
You've got it. It's a hesitant recovery. Annual growth is just creeping along at about 1%, and the bank actually notes that supply is set to outstrip demand soon.
Which means it's technically becoming a buyer's market.
A buyer's market, even if the price tag doesn't feel like it yet.
Wow. A buyer's market with record high prices. That's a tough pill to swallow. So is this misery spread out evenly? Because, London usually plays by its own rules.
And it is doing exactly that again. If you're listening to this in central London, the data says activity there is especially weak.
That's very polite code for cratering, isn't it?
Essentially, yes. The very top end of the market, those luxury flats in Mayfair or Kensington, prices there actually fell last year, and they're still under a lot of pressure.
And outside the capital.
The forecast is more like broadly flat to modest growth.
Yeah.
So that record £300,000 average is really masking this huge divide.
Okay, so selling is a headache. Let's switch over to renting. Because there's a very specific and maybe slightly alarming trend happening there, right?
This is the part of the reports that actually worries me the most. On the surface, things look okay. Rental inflation is moderating. So rents are still going up, but just not as fast.
That sounds like good news, theoretically.
It does. But there's a big supply issue brewing. The bank is reporting what it calls significant landlord exits.
Landlords are selling up and leaving the market. Why?
Well, it seems to be driven by regulatory anxiety.
This is about the new renters' rights legislation coming in for England.
Exactly. Landlords are looking at the changes, which are designed to give tenants more security, and they're just getting nervous. Their reaction is to sell up now and get out of the sector.
Which is. That's the classic law of unintended consequences, isn't it?
It is.
The legislation is meant to help tenants, but if it scares off landlords, the supply of rental homes just shrinks.
And when supply shrinks, competition for the homes that are left just skyrockets. You could end up with a situation where tenants have more rights on paper, but fewer places they can actually afford to live.
That is the pressure point to watch.
Yeah.
So to wrap up this deep dive then, it's February 2026. The average house costs £300,000, a record high.
But it's a kind of ghost recovery.
Right. Low viewings, flat transactions. Central London is really hurting, and landlords are fleeing the rental market.
It's a market that's just stuck in limbo. High prices, but very low energy.
So here's the thought I want to leave you with. We know these landlord exits are being driven by anxiety over regulations designed to help tenants.
That's the stated intention, yes.
So if the immediate reaction to pro-tenant rules is a supply squeeze that just drives up competition and hurts affordability, are we accidentally engineering a worse housing crisis in the name of trying to fix the current one? Something to chew on. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.
See you next time.